Hello, I'm Dr. Shiau Ling. I'm the co-founder and group medical director of the ClearSK Group of Aesthetic Clinics in Singapore, Shanghai, and Hangzhou. I've been practicing aesthetic medicine since the year 2000. So my maxim in life is to love what I do and to do what I love. So over the years, I've had many successful women, highly successful ones, who can be business owners, professionals, executives, as well as homeowners. And I've learned a lot from their insights into life. So right now, I have here Dr. Perpetua, who has a great insight into life because of what she does. She's a senior psychologist as well as a professional coach to very successful people. So I'll let Dr. Perpetua introduce herself.
Thank you, Dr. Shao, and good morning. I am Perpetua. My clients call me Dr. P, and I help my clients all around the world to hit their KPIs sustainably without burning out. And by my clients, I mean people who are senior leaders, C-suites, elite athletes, military, etc. I'm also a published author with Simon & Schuster, and I write for a few different columns. My works in 43 languages, but most importantly, to me, it's not just about leading a successful life, because success can also mean that you need to sleep peacefully at night, have a sense of purpose, and have a sense of connection with the world. And so a lot of this, I call this designing a life that is la dolce vita, or a beautiful life. And so part of this then is about liking the person you see in the mirror as well. And we know that sometimes life can happen, stresses can happen, and sometimes we don't really like what we see. So this is where someone like Dr. Shao comes in very well.
So I have very interesting sometimes remarks from my patients. Like for instance, I have patients who tell me like, well, Dr. Xiao, please make me look younger, but not too young. So I got this from a lady who's a widow who has successfully raised two daughters into very successful human beings. Then another one who said something very interesting too. She said, she's a bank director, and she says, I'm not quite sure whether if you make me look too young, my board of directors will approve of it, and maybe they may not value me, as a professional, as my contribution to the bank. So I have this sort of interesting statements from very successful women, and they have this fear about how they will be viewed if they put in too much effort to enhance their appearance. So I'm actually rather puzzled and a bit disheartened to hear that.
I think like generally there's a lot of judgment when it comes to being a woman. I mean, let's face it, whether you're married or you're not married, you have kids or you don't have kids, it's like you can do no right at times. And this also trickles down, or maybe you would say floods down when it comes to our looks, right? I mean, you see that in the work all the time. I see that in my work all the time when women feel bad about just putting on skincare at times. And then they don't like who they see in the mirror because they're not putting in the effort. And then, this becomes this rabbit hole that they tumble down. And at the heart of this let's not talk about why aren't you taking care of your looks. It's more about why are we judging people for taking care of their looks? So, Dr. Shao, in your experience, what do you think women fear the most when it comes to taking care of their looks? Like, what judgments do they get?
Well, I feel that from what these women share in the statements, of course, being judged by people that matters. Some of them could be their family members, some could be people they work very closely with, colleagues that they respect and value. Judged as one is like being, like for example, a bimbo, a woman who has beauty and no brains. So it seems like society seems to feel that beauty and brains are isolated and cannot mutually coexist. So some is they feel that, if a woman put in a lot of time and effort on their looks, maybe they're not doing enough on what they should do, their natural duty. Let's say, as maybe you're failing as a mother because you're putting in too much effort as to make yourself look good. Or, instead of being a successful banker, you are putting a lot of effort on your face and you're not being serious enough and not efficient enough.
I mean, this can be quite valid things because sometimes we look at the quantity of effort that's being put in, the number of hours that's clocked in, right? Especially in cultures that are more micromanaging than cultures that give you more autonomy. But at the same time, I think to myself, right, to become this bank director, you must have studied quite a bit. You must have proven yourself over and over again, put in all the effort and the hours. So who's to say that you're not spending enough time on your brains, on your professional development? I mean, it's almost a hypocrisy. What more do you want this person to do, right? And in my own personal life as well, along the way of my life, I always get very strange statements about if I take care of my looks, then there's something wrong with me. I'm vapid, I'm vain. And is that something that you've also come across in your own personal life?
Yeah, it was quite funny, because I'm in aesthetics, right?
Yeah.
So my friend called me aesthetics doctor. So
Yeah.
I've got this architect friend. He's a really brainy chap.
Yeah.
And we're very good friends. We share deeply about personal struggles and all that. And he introduced me to his friend, and he said, this is Elaine, and she's not a typical aesthetic doctor. She actually has brains. So I wasn't quite sure whether I should feel flattered or I
Yeah.
should feel insulted. It's like, hello, you mean I'm different because
Mm.
what am I supposed to be and how am I different? So it was quite funny. But he's a really nice person. But I'm just surprised he introduced me like that to his friends.
So I think that actually societal judgments slip out that way. It's like what you call institutionalized racism, right? Like it's things that we are not aware of. So this is almost like institutionalized sexism or anti-beautism. And I just find it incredibly exhausting because over the years I used to have to work really hard to prove myself. And then one day, I told myself, I've got so many advanced degrees from the best universities in the world. Why am I having to prove myself or make myself look more tired, uglier, or dowsier? For what? For people to give me a bit of pity? That makes no sense, right? And so sometimes I go, yeah, I'm a nerd and I'm an airhead at the same time, if you want to see me that way. And then when you kind of put it out there, and sometimes people just shut up, and then it kind of makes them think, but it also gives you that little shield that helps you say that, yeah, this is me. I'm owning it, because I would rather own it now and take care of my looks than cry at 50 years old or cry at 16. So how about you? How do you deal with this?
Well, for me, it's the other round, So I actually was like those typical career women who spent a lot of effort on studying and all that. And at one point, I was also not taking care. I was like very busy with work, and I was busy making women beautiful. But yeah, I wasn't taking care of myself because I always assumed that, hey, I still got, time ahead.
Right.
Until one day I look in the mirror and I've got, my friend was asking me like, actually, how much older are you than your hubby? That gave me a bit of a shock because I was like, hello, he's older than me. Yeah, so that was like a bit of a blow to the heart. And then I realized, say hello, I
Yeah.
had to put as much effort as my patient. No excuse for being busy. Looking
Mm.
good is as important as working hard for our career. So I kind of learned it a bit later, although I'm providing that to all my patients. And so
Right.
after this, I become like a really what you call a devotee. I
Uh,
really find out ways to make myself look younger, and I share all these tips with all my patients, because they are like friends to me, because I share with them what I would do.
mm,
It's very genuine, very authentic. I would not like, recommend things that doesn't suit them. But
right.
it's a harsh lesson that I learned because I didn't put in effort. I was like, look
Right.
horrible.
Right. So by the time I met you, you already has like quite a few years of walking your talk then.
Phew, yeah, I'm glad because I have patients who know me like, when I was younger, and they say, you know what? You actually look much better now than when I first knew you.
Well, that's always a good sign. I
Yeah, that
always
was a good sign, yeah.
to look at your old pictures and go, what was that? And then to look at your old pictures and go, I wish I was that.
Yeah, so I kind of changed my mindset from the more conservative older mindset to
Mm.
this more I'll say more modern, more
Mm.
anti-conservative, whatever conservatism, because it is something different.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, and it's also like when and ideas like that start initially, they
Yes.
can met with a lot of resistance, a lot of like suspicion, because the masses are not adopting it. And so, there's safety in numbers. And then when you are starting out that way, there's no safety in very few numbers. So, I'm very glad you got brave about it.
But interestingly, I actually did a bit of research this morning, and I realized that, Singapore women, percentage of women who are working is actually accounting for about 65% of
Okay.
Singaporean women are working in some form of employment or whatsoever. While they're not the top, because okay, men is a bit more than 71%,
Okay.
highest in the world in terms of women percentage being employed.
Oh,
It's
Right.
80 to 81, and that's in Iceland. So we are
Right.
to the peak, but this is the trend, the world trend going forward. More
Mm.
and more percentage of women will be working, will have, a job to go to. They'll have to present themselves being professionals and have good
Mm.
grooming. So
Yeah.
we are actually maybe in the forefront of this trend, and we should lead the thinking, and,
Mm.
and we should reach out to women who still think that they have to make themselves look, boring and old in order to be recognized if they work. Yeah.
Yeah, or play themselves down, or basically, deem themselves. I think that's a very sad thing, to have to make yourself
Oh.
less than in order to be accepted by any situation in your life.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting. The word you said, dim yourself. So I thought that was very interesting because I also agree that society has to accept that a working woman will not be like a working man. So maybe
Yeah,
men will just turn out their white shirt and black pants, and that's what they do, or maybe a combed hair, and that's great
yeah,
already.
yeah, yeah.
For us, you will notice that you have a new generation of women workers, whether they are business owners, executives, professionals. They're going to look different. They're going to have beautiful hairstyle,
Mm-hmm.
lovely made up, lovely accessories, beautiful dresses,
Yeah.
and they are still to be reckoned with. They can deliver a job well done.
Honestly, Dr. Shao, when I first met you, I
Yeah.
thought, if this is a doctor who looks good, she's smart, clearly, then I can trust her. But if I have a doctor who doesn't dress well, who doesn't have the kind of skin or sense of proportion that I'm looking for, then I wouldn't trust her. I mean, that's normally how I judge. If a woman has time or has the effort to take care of her brains, her career, her relationships, and her looks, then actually I'll think she must be doing something right with the way she's taking care of her energy.
Right. Thank you so much, Petra. So same. I feel that, the image that you project is very positive, full of energy, and you are clearly a modern working woman. Because, typically psychologists, you think of somebody as extremely brainy, deal with very negative emotions, helping people out of their difficult times, typically very serious role. And there you are. You're so fashionable, so full of energy, so vibrant, and you're clearly, probably the most fashionable lady I know. And I feel that,
Yeah.
the image will be like you're going to be very you have the latest, most advanced opinions, you'll probably have new techniques. So I feel that's the professional image that you're projecting, at least to me, that's how I will view you. And I'm very sure that you're probably preferred by some of your clients because they like the fact that you're going to be very modern, you're going to have new thinking. Is that what happened?
Yes, actually, sometimes some clients, they come to me because they read my profile, they read my own story, and they read also the testimonials from similar clients or similar challenges, and then they go, and you also look very good, so I need to hire you. I'm like, oh, okay, thank you.
Right, right.
Yeah.
That's very positive. What about do you have like people who initially like let's say judged you and they turn around? Do you have such an experience?
I think that's mostly when it comes to more senior men that who might give me some advice or suggestions along the way. And initially they will say very strange things like, oh, you don't look serious enough because your face is too young. And now I look at myself at 38 versus my 28 or 25-year-old self. I actually look younger now. And now I have a good laugh to myself. I'm like, but how does that, yes, I understand optics as a perception, but how does that take away my brains and my track record? And then, as we start talking and start making friends, sometimes some of these men, senior men, will start telling me things like they don't like the way they look. And that's when the conversation changes. And then actually, like some of them, over the years, I see them take better care of their health, their looks, have more discipline. And then, years later, they tell me they're a lot happier taking care of their looks. So it's not really a matter of who has the last laugh, but rather when you believe that in something, like, I've always believed in taking care of my looks. So it's like I can tell you stories of how my grandmother would, when I was really young, told me, you make sure you've got good eyebrows. And she would always have that little bottle of hazelnut snow that she'll put on her neck, because she'll tell me, your neck is the most important. And then going my mother to Lancome as a child, and her teaching me about eye cream. So I've been using eye cream since I was 15 years old. So it's a long time. Very devoted, compound interest going the right direction. So, to me, like, this is something that I truly deeply believe in, not just in terms of projecting an image of looking like I have vitality, but rather this is something that is in my blood and something that I'm very proud to bring forward. So when it's something that I believe in, that I value in, I think it really seeps through, and just being proud of it, or being able to stand firm in who I am without having to convince other people that they have to do the same. It shows over the years.
So, okay, this is a very standard question, but I'm actually curious to hear. So what do you think about this inner beauty, and how do you think about it, matching it with outer beauty?
Oh, well, I think inner beauty is very, very important because it shows. I mean, like Rodal said that if you have a good thoughts, it was really on your face, right? But at the same time, sometimes I feel like inner beauty is often used as an excuse for people to neglect the outer beauty, because somehow inner beauty is noble, it's kind, is meaningful, but outer beauty is vapid, makes you an airhead, makes you shallow, makes you waste your money, makes you unprofessional. And like this insane dichotomy, to me, like I use the word insane. Why, or how did this come to be? So like this. So as somebody who has suffered from acne, multiple rounds of acne over my life, I understand just how horrible it is on your self-esteem, right? Like I meet some of my friends who are in, when they started being in the early 30s to mid 30s, they started telling me about their eye wrinkles, and how much it really affected the way they see themselves. And working in psychological services in hospitals, I've also been around people with severe body dysmorphia, severe beauty dysmorphia. And so, to me, it's like, it's not, it's the whole case behind this thing is not, we should just neglect how you look, because if you look at, say, journals in psychodermatology, there's a discernible relationship between your self-esteem and your skin, especially if you have got acne. So, and why I'm telling you this long story is because I often hear things about, oh, if your skin is bad, you have acne, wrinkles, it's just time, it's just hormones, it's just a cycle. Take care of who you are instead. Inner beauty is more important. But if you don't like the person you're seeing in the mirror, then you're going to feel very sad about yourself. It seeps into your confidence across your work, across your relationships, and your relationship with yourself. And the thing is that taking care of your outer beauty is something solvable. It's something you can actually do, right? And if it makes you happier, then your inner beauty shines more. So, I think saying inner beauty, that's all is more important, is a call out at times.
But having said that, I will feel that, over the years, I realized that external beauty have a chance to allow people to unveil the inner beauty, which means that there are a lot of people with great, personality, characters, but let's say it might be hampered by, let's say, they didn't have enough care on their skin. For, let's say, very practically speaking, if two persons come for an interview, one has exactly the same qualifications, the grades, and we feel that both are capable of doing the same job,
Yeah.
it's highly likely the employer will choose the one that look more attractive.
Yes, I mean, that's been shown in organizational studies over and over again.
Right. So that's actually a fact. And also a person with a, let's say, nicer looking face, they look, let's say, they are so-called considered or believed to have a better character, because let's say they look better. People think they're kinder, nicer people to work with. For some reason, better appearance are equate with better inner beauty too. So that's also a fact in life. So, and of course, people who didn't take care of their skin, they have bad skin, they tend to be equated as people who are untidy, slip short, because of the way they appear.
Yes.
So therefore, I do see the practicality of taking care of the outer beauty.
I
Yeah.
definitely agree with that. Also, like if you feel good about yourself, then you've got one less thing to worry about, which means that you can shine, right? If you're spending all this time worrying about the way you look, judging yourself, or just hating your acne or your pimples, your wrinkles, when actually these things are solvable, then you're wasting a lot of energy. And this energy could be better channeled into your work, into your life, into your relationships. It's just impractical to be wasting it that way.
Yeah, yeah. So of course, on the other hand, there are people who put in a lot of effort on their looks.
Yeah.
Yeah, they worship looks alone, and they didn't care about their inner beauty. They didn't go and update their knowledge or
Yeah.
their characters. And they will, of course, name people who, of course, give them a chance because of their good external beauty. But of course, if you know them better, then you find that they're not quite who they think they are. So then they will lose out afterwards. But of course, they had that little bit of a head start because of the better appearance.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
what happened. Yeah.
I also think that sometimes we allow these extreme examples to influence the way we think. I mean, like, let's say we're talking about your bank director, right?
Right.
How much time does she logically have to devote to her face every day? Clearly can't be 6 hours, right? But versus, you know, the ideas that we have about, oh, this person spends 6 hours on her beauty every day. Like, your bank director doesn't have time. You don't have 6 hours. I don't have 6 hours.
Right. Yeah.
It's about the inherent biases that our mind puts us through.
So in fact, I have this joke. So I did tell this lady friend of mine, because she was like, some of the men she's meeting, they couldn't find the right man.
Okay.
So I've got this joke. I say, you find a guy with the best character, personality, blah, blah, but the look is a blah.
Yeah.
And send him to me and I will transform him. So you're going to get a guy with great inner beauty and then with a transformed, okay lah, he won't be super like Mr. Singapore, but he looks better. Maybe his skin doesn't look so, his acne will be under control, it doesn't look so greasy and he'll be more pleasant.
Cheekbones.
Maybe, yes.
Yeah.
Soften his skin and he looks better. Yeah, so there's a great inner beauty and sufficient external beauty because we girls are not so fussy.
Yeah. Actually, I love that, because so many people reject men because they don't look that good, right? But actually, what you're basically saying is something so true, that a lot of what we call issues with outer beauty are actually very easy to solve with some smart choice of interventions.
Yeah. So I agree with you on that. So yeah, so for us, I feel that we're living the smart life because we get to enjoy, well, obviously better inner beauty because we put a lot of effort to develop our inner self. We grow as a person in our mind, and we also take care of our look so that we look nice when we present ourselves, to our clients, our friends, our colleagues. We look good, and we enjoy it as well. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's a win-win-win, because also like you will also influence people who are a bit scared of doing this, that you actually give them the permission slip to do that. And then, it's what I call the good kind of peer pressure. The only kind of peer pressure that I want is from my friends who make an effort to live well, to be better versions of themselves inside and outside. And, you're creating this sort of great influence rather than peer pressure that makes you do stupid things or that makes you happier. So the soul sister, she's an amazing person. She's always sending me new skincare stuff and just this new information, and I love it because around her and some of my other friends, we get inspired to take better care of our looks. So that's great peer pressure.
Wow. Yes. So you must hang out with the right kind of people who are
Definitely.
believers in the same values.
Definitely.
Great.
So for me, it's to actually know the looks that make you feel the most alive, not what's trendy or what your friends say you have to wear. So everybody has this idea that when you has experiences when you want a dress or a top or certain accessories or certain kinds of makeup that make you just look alive and feel alive from within, and it's something that you cannot deny. So have a mental note of what these are, and this will be the simplest things that you can do. And then for me, the other thing that helps a person to look put together is to take care of their looks at night. So I like to do a lot of things at night because I'm a night owl, and because in the morning I like to maximize my sleep. But at night, if I take care of my skin and I give it a bit more than nourishing stuff, then in the morning I spend 3 minutes, and then my makeup's literally 1 minute. Because I invested some time to intensively take care of my skin, after like a history of acne and all the horrible pores that happen, the pock marks that happen. I invested time to take care of my skin and to turn that around. And because of that, from somebody who had to wear many layers of foundation, BB cream, CC cream, powders, you name it, I don't wear anything anymore. And that saves me a lot of time. And who we have to thank for this partly is Dr. Shiau.
Right. So I concur with what Perpetua share. I also, over the years, I also came up with some standard looks and style that suits me. So for instance, now it's very fashionable to do this thing called the color codes. So I found my color code. So I'm autumn. So I look nice in colors of autumn, like, browns and beige. and mustard yellows and certain kind of greens. So if I wear such clothes, I will look naturally brighter. But I need to wear black because I need to say I want to be chic. Then I have to put a little bit of the right colored powder on my face to make my face brighten. So I kind of know that. But I feel that ultimately what helps a lot is actually the fact that I've done things to keep my skin looking good. So like whether it's lasers or HIFU for lifting or skin hydration, I find that because of that, we're busy in the morning, we literally have to dash out, because there's a long list of appointments ahead, right? So we just really minimal, like I said, minimal work on our skin, maybe a very light dusting, a powder, sunblock, maybe a lipstick, and out we go and we look great.
Yeah.
So that's why I find good too.
So basically, what you're saying is you spend a bit of time to do the legwork, to do the investment, and then once that pays off, all you have to do is maintain. Versus, every day you complain and you spend 40 minutes on your skin, but it's still not to your satisfaction at all because you're not doing the right stuff.
You're right, because I do hear this from one of my patients. She was telling me before she comes to see me, she used to spend 45 minutes putting makeup on her face to cover up all her blemishes.
Yeah.
And she's an expert. She knows how to cover, the eye circle, how to draw her brows, how to shape everything, cover the creating shadows to make the face look sharper. And it took her 45 minutes. So she told me that because she had done all these and he has improved her skin, she has saved 45 minutes times 3 months. So she was calculating, she said, there's thousands of minutes. And it was quite cute because the way she calculated, like, hello, I never thought of it like that. She said, yeah, it's time saving. So like, oh, okay, that's great. Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, like how much time you save me because I take care of my skin now. It's like sometimes I just tumble out of bed, literally splash my skin, pop eye cream on, and bam, I'm done. It's so easy, otherwise I will feel very dragged down, thinking, oh no, I got to do this for the next 45 minutes. And also taking care of my skin, one thing I would need to say, right, is that because now I don't wear and I'm not worn any base for many, many years, right? Like it helps me to exercise because as somebody ADHD, I would say things, my brain would go, I've taken out my makeup. Nope, not exercising. But now I've got no excuse. So now I actually exercise. And guess what? I'm a lot healthier. My cheekbones are a lot more lifted.
Wow.
So win.
Great. Yeah, that's great. So yeah, I think we both concur and agree that, taking care of our skin really saves us a lot of time.
Definitely.
Yeah. You look great. Yeah.
So when it comes to this, I think again, I am a lot for being very aware of who you are and what makes you shine, what makes you feel alive. And not all trends will make you feel alive. So for instance, there are some trends that change the look of your face and then the proportions become a bit strange. So I'm a big fan of the Chinese term 五官端正, meaning that the way the different features come together, they sync or they even sing together. So I think it's very important that when you are taking care of your skin and your outer beauty, to actually consult somebody who has a good sense of proportion and is able to help you not go crazy. Because it's like, for instance, in studies of say body dysmorphia, people sometimes get obsessed with a certain feature, like they need their eyes to be super big, or some celebrities' eyes, they need to change their nose, but that does not sit well with their face. And so, when it comes to trends, what I think or what society wants, I think it can be fun to play with that. So it's good to have an open mind, but be very aware of what makes you look good as a person rather than something that's prescribed by TikTok or by Instagram.
Right. Yeah, it's actually very interesting what Dr. Perpetua talked about, this body dysmorphia, because that is something that personally as a doctor, I find it very hard to persuade somebody with this kind of issues, because they keep thinking that they look horrible when actually they look pretty decent. And it was so hard to change that, right? So I really can't handle that. I'll probably leave these to your expert hands. But for me, usually, okay, fortunately, the current trend in aesthetics is looking natural.
Yeah.
It means that whatever we do is to just make the person looks naturally nice. We're not going to make the person look like another person, as if an over sharp face, over tall nose, or super big eyes, because that kind of very exaggerated look is very passé now. So now what's accepted is actually just enhancing a natural beauty. Let's say maybe make the skin better, more glowy, more radiant, make the face more lifted just to look fresher and younger.
Yeah.
So that is more popular and more recommended. So I would say that fortunately the trend now is going towards natural beauty, and I also feel that that's more long lasting, this sort of demand and perception, as opposed to previously people were trying to have over large eyes and
Yeah.
so tall that it stands out.
Lord, I thought that was actually quite scary when I looked at some pictures. I was like, is that a monster or is that an alien? But the thing is that, without beyond the joke, right? It's actually the things that we subject ourselves to in the name of a trend that it's a fleeting trend. And like, like you, I'm very glad that we are moving towards something a bit more natural, because I think it's already about enhancing who you are, or maybe my own standard is also when I do any kind of thing to my skin, right? It's about reversing what nature or my bad habits took away. So, for instance, when my cheekbones were not so taut, it's also because of time or bad habits, right? So going to you for haifu and photona was basically about reversing that. And so that's kind of my rule, how to enhance myself, is to reverse what nature took away.
Right. In fact, you're completely right. In fact, I did a study recently, and I look at my old photos, let's say in my teens, my 20s, 30s, and then now, I noticed that my face actually changes due to the whole aging process. So like when I was younger, my nose was actually taller, my cheekbones are a bit higher, and my chin was longer. But as I get older, actually the face become more, I would say, flattish, like
Right.
broader and shorter, and everything actually become flatter. And so some of the anti-aging treatments actually target to so-called restore the youthful look. It's just to restore back the structure that has so-called flattened out. And so sometimes I'll just make patients show me their younger photos. And you have a photo of yourself in your 20s and 30s, can I just take a look? And then when they take it out, they're all very shocked too. They're like, hello, you mean I used to look like that? And I'm like, hello, yes, that's true. And now we're just making you look back to you again. We're not going to make it into, some kind of a superstar, but just look like you when you were younger and fresher. Because
Yeah,
we're still younger and fresher inside, right? So we just want to look as young as we feel.
it's
And
to basically restore the version of you. It's almost like, go back to the backup and like, bring yourself back to the backup.
right. So yeah, so that is actually very relevant. So it's actually very true. So like what you mentioned about restoring, yeah. So as for some of us who are, okay, I'm older than you, we really need that kind of restoration because it gives back that kind of youthful appearance. Because unfortunately there's also this issue we call ageism. So let's say if a person look tired and older, they probably, I feel it's the other way around. They are probably being judged that they might not be competent in what they are doing. They may be like, um, put off for a promotion, or their team members may not respect them and say, hey, I think my leader is not up to date, she doesn't know the latest style, looks so tired. Yeah, so straight away they get like, put off, they're like put aside as less capable. So having that youthful look, so I feel that the look of youth is important for some of us, because especially in the workplace.
Yeah.
Yeah, to feel that to let your colleagues, your boss know and feel that you are really relevant, you're still capable of delivering amazing results in your work. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the word relevant is very important. And like for me, it's like someone who looks alive. It's You can tell a difference, and that also permeates how, when this person looks at themselves and they're like, oh, I like myself. It's nothing superficial, but rather they start to see themselves differently, and you see the different energy with which they show up, down to their work, to their relationships, is at a different level altogether. So sometimes I think that one of the easiest ways for people to step up in their lives is actually just to take care of the way they look. It brings a lot of returns, because this is nothing superficial. We were born with two eyes to be able to see what we look like. Everywhere we go, we judge things. We judge things that we see. And if you look at evolutionary psychology, we are wired to like things that are beautiful, things that are symmetrical, because we automatically associate that with somebody who is fit, right? And fitness means that you're able to pass your genes down, whether or not you want to pass your genes down, right? So if we are wired by nature, by biology, to like beautiful things, and without being an obsessive person who spends 8 or 10 or 6 hours on it daily, why are we being so difficult and judgy about people who spend a bit of time investing in their skin?
I totally agree.
I think for me, one of the most important things is your posture. Because when I mean, like in interviews, people naturally get a bit nervous unless that's something that you naturally shine in. So a lot of people tend to crunch themselves up and hunch forward. And what happens is it's not just the way you look. I mean, if I took a photo of you that way, you would not really like it, right? But actually, your brain is picking up on your posture, and your brain is thinking, she or he is feeling anxious. He or she is feeling nervous, because historically what happens is when we scrunch ourselves into a ball, we're trying to make ourselves play dead and look small so that the predator on the savannah cannot see us. So your posture is very important, because when you do this, then your brain picks that up and it's going to send testosterone to your body to make you feel more confident and more assertive. So for me, that's one of the biggest things. And another thing would also to be able to let yourself smile and convey that sense of warmth and sincerity and connection. But then before then, you gotta like what you're wearing. You gotta like what you're putting on your skin as well. So I think Dr. Shiau can tell us about what are her killer tips in order to look great for an interview in terms of outer beauty.
Okay, so I concur totally with what Perpetua has shared. I feel that her posture part, this is something I didn't quite think about, but I thought that's a great tip. What I'll share will be that it has to be relevant to the types of interview you're going for. Let's say if it is because I mean you're talking about job interview, but a general interview, let's say a big interview for a professional kind of situation. So I feel that a suit is in order, a jacket suit looks smart and projecting your most capable power woman self. That's really important. But let's say if you're going for an interview for a position that's more towards, let's say, media, social media marketing, and you want to project a very lively, very modern image, then maybe dressing with something a bit more trendy will be in order instead of a serious power suit. Maybe like you can still wear a jacket, but something more trendy with a little bit of maybe modern little fittings, cute little maybe like a brooch, something like that, to project the fact that you're creative, you're thinking out the box, that kind of image. So but I would say a definite no-no is overly sexy clothes, like extremely low cut or plunging necklines or revealing, like, let's say a blue color hair, that kind of thing. That totally may just kill the whole interview, because straight away, I would say that the person may not be able to feel that you're serious about the job. So I feel that that's something, like little tips that we probably can use. So really have to match our grooming and our clothes according to the occasion. And of course, another thing is attitude. Go there as if the person you're talking to loves you. So when you have that very positive thinking that, hey, this person loves me, you're going to project your best self, because it's a person is not going to judge you and think badly of you. So yeah, because I saw this in a movie about this woman who couldn't hear negative words. So she will hurt. So everything she heard would be so-called transformed into positive words. So she was
Wow.
a shy, quiet lady because somebody did some kind of spell on her. And after that, everything she heard is like, even somebody say you're stupid and useless, and she'll hear you're beautiful and smart. And she'd be like, oh, thank you, I love you, and I will do my best. And because of that, everybody feels that, hey, this lady is super positive, and she become very successful. So I thought, hey, that
Wow.
confidence, that self-belief is such
Yeah.
a winning thing. Yeah. But that was a funny movie, but yeah, it taught me a lot. Yeah.
I love that story. I mean, like so many times, like what we imagine people are saying to us, and the brain likes to hold on to negative things. The brain likes to think negative things, right? Survival mechanism. So when we think that way, then we are reacting to the world in a way that basically is to our detriment. So sometimes, yeah, you're right, like our reality can be a projection of how we see ourselves. So I like that story. What's the name of the movie? Do you remember?
It's a Korean drama. Let me send it to you.
Okay.
So
Oh
it's
my,
like amazing. It's like, wow,
yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, like I think one of my biggest takeaways for this would be unapologetic about taking care of your outer beauty, because that's also how your inner beauty can shine. And if you want to have a good return on your energy and your life, sometimes taking care of your looks can be the fastest way to do so.
My takeaway is I agree. I learned so much from Dr. Perpetual. about how it's very important to project this energy, this vibrant image to people around us. And this confidence can also come from having good appearance. So it's very important to keep our appearance under control and use that as an advantage as we fight and face the world as busy, successful women.
Yes, so let beauty be your capital.
All right, that's a great,
Hey.
love that.